What's up, guys? Welcome to Newswave Week in Review. This is, of course, our Saturday show where I like to take a look back at the week in news and take a look at some of your comments and answer anything you guys were talking about or any thoughts you guys had in the comment sections of all those videos. Also, a really good way to kind of get caught up on the past week in gaming news and technology news. Now, before we start, you're probably going to see it at some point. I do have a large bit of wrapping on my left finger, or my left hand index finger, yes. Had some impromptu surgery this morning, so no big deal. That's probably why you're seeing this a little later, too. I want to try to get out earlier in the day, but anyway, that stuff can't be helped. But everything's good. I'll probably hopefully have this off by the time God of War comes out. Had to get taken care of before God of War. You know, that's Friday. So as long as I'm good by then, I don't care. But guys, let's get started. On Monday, we talked about the Animal Crossing website undergoing tons of changes, leading many to speculate that an announcement for a new game could be coming. We also went over new information coming out of PAX East around Wolfenstein 2 using gyro controls. Chris Rooston says, sales-wise, Animal Crossing is 5 times bigger than Metroid Prime. Not in my world, mind you, but it's big. Technically, you are right about Animal Crossing being a bigger game in terms of sales. That's absolutely correct. When I was thinking more like bigger game, I was thinking more like a game that has the ability to get a crowd reaction, you know, like this. One that's like kind of like a buzz, you know, like it's a game that gets people buzzing. Metroid Prime was going to get people buzzing. Now, I don't even think the 3DS one had that kind of buzz that Prime has at this point, and it definitely seems like something Nintendo was focusing heavily on. They want to make sure this game's good. Animal Crossing is a game that quietly sells over 10 million units on the DS and the 3DS. Now, I will say the console versions tend to sell less. They don't even come half really close to what the 3DS sells. But because the Switch technically falls more on like a handheld side, yeah, it's probably going to sell quite a few units just on the Switch. I think a lot of people are really excited for a really good-looking Animal Crossing on the Switch that's also portable. So no, Animal Crossing is a good seller, but it's a quiet seller. Metroid Prime is a loud game that doesn't sell as much. Tuesday saw the announcement and subsequent release of Boss Key's newest game, Radical Heights. This game is their own take on the Battle Royale genre, mixing an 80s game show-like setting with the 100-person game type. Grand Theft Auto made the news when it was reported that it had become the highest earning media with nearly $6 billion made. Mohammed says, I'd prefer it if these lawbreaker dudes would do something original instead. I think that's a fair request. See, the thing about Boss Key is they noticed that hero shooters like Overwatch were very popular, so they make lawbreakers. That's essentially the same type of game. It just was very generic and it wasn't as interesting to a lot of people, so it kind of, well, fell off. There's also no loot crates or microtransactions, which I know a lot of people don't like loot crates, but let's be realistic. There are a lot of people who go back to Overwatch because they keep adding stuff like that, whereas they were completely against doing that in Lawbreakers, which it seems like their attitude may be turning around a bit in Radical Heights, because I feel like we're going to see quite a few microtransactions outside of the Founders Pack for that game. But yeah, they're not very original over there when it comes to kind of setting the standard for any type of game or any type of game type. That's the thing. Now, same can be said about Fortnite, as they kind of tagged along with what PUBG did, but Fortnite has made some very, very good improvements to that genre. Really, they've set the standard at this point. Something that I don't know if Boss Key is going to do with Radical Heights. However, Radical Heights is definitely more popular than what Lawbreakers was, so we'll see where Radical Heights goes in the next year. But I would like to see, Boss Key and Cliffy B kind of do something that they would be more creative around, rather than just kind of tagging along to everything that seems popular. Potentially Perfect says, GTA 5 is still printing money? Yeah, we're never seeing GTA 6. I would like to think GTA 6 is coming out at some point. In fact, I would like to think that all of the money they're making for GTA 5 is enabling them to kind of take their time with games like Red Dead Redemption 2. That remains to be seen. You know, we got to see it when it comes out to see how good of a game it is. I like to think, though, that they're reinvesting those funds into just more development time around some of these games. GTA 6 is going to have massive expectations, so I would expect them to take their time with it. I wouldn't expect them to just run out there and say, GTA 6, yeah, and also, why would you shut down GTA 5? Even when GTA 6 comes out, just leave the servers up for GTA 5 because it still makes money. And then there's still the Nintendo Switch they could go to. And honestly, in a year or two, you could see it show up on cell phones. So, I mean, the market, it's crazy. They've made $6 billion so far. The market's still wide open on the Switch and really cell phones. Everybody has a cell phone. Imagine the amount of money they could make if they can get it on tablets and phones. It would be unreal. Wednesday, we went over a recent breakthrough in the hacking scene for the Nintendo Switch when hackers managed to back up saves from their Switch system. We're still waiting for official means to do this, so for now it looks like you need to hack your Switch to back up any save data. Capcom revealed the release date for the X Collection to be July 24th, and also let us know that Switch owners will have to download the second collection even if you bought it physically. Vibe of Shah says, kinda sad how hackers provide better service than Nintendo at this point. The Switch is lacking so many basic features that have existed since 5+ years. Even the PlayStation Vita has cloud saves, built-in voice chat, and Messenger. Nintendo has no excuse. Now, I like to think that Nintendo is working on this online service heavily, and it's going to kind of tie everything together, all of these complaints. Like, I remember when the 360 first came out, it was severely bare bones online. You couldn't even download something, right, before, like if you download something, you could not remove that, like you couldn't do anything else on 360. You had to let that bar fill up, or you would pause the download. Things like that. Very weird. Although that was a long time ago when the online connections for consoles was still very young, very early, and definitely Microsoft was trying to navigate this, never before navigated path with consoles and online gaming. But yeah, the Switch, it's very interesting that we're going to be going into over a year and a half without very basic functionality that boils down to backing up your saves just locally. I mean, voice chat, everything. There's a lot that they need to do, and I would like to think that this online infrastructure is going to fix things like voice chat, sending messages to friends, easier ways to friend request and party chat and all this. I'd like to think that's where we're going, because they haven't added anything to that app at all, the phone app. So I kind of hope that's becoming more of a companion app and not the center of attention for voice chat. But we'll see there. Grok for Spock says, interesting that you mentioned cloud saves behind a paywall. I expect that Nintendo will do that in September for $20, yet no mention that if you want cloud saves on the PS4, it's behind a paywall, a $60 paywall. That's actually correct, but with the PlayStation, I can also back my stuff up locally for free. My point was, if Nintendo introduces cloud saves with no local backups for free, they are essentially holding the ability to back up your saves hostage behind that $20 paywall. While I will be paying it because I pay for Xbox Live and I pay for PlayStation Plus, so of course I'm going to be paying for the Nintendo Online service that's a third of the price. It's still very, very anti-consumer to be doing that, where you would charge for online backups and not give the consumers a way to back up locally. We don't even really need the online service to show up to give us that ability. They could do that as an update at any time, and I would like to see them do that as an update soon. That would be ideal, right? I hope it's not part of the online infrastructure. We have to wait for that just for on or offline backups. But no, the whole point is they need to give us an offline backup method, that maybe a USB stick or something to the SD card, and not just online backups, because that would be anti-consumer. Thursday, we went over Pokemon Switch currently undergoing localization. This came from Pixelpar, who has been following the Pokemon Switch scene for quite some time. Localization generally takes place towards the end of the development cycle, leading many to speculate if Pokemon will make it out in time for a 2018 holiday release. Proto Mario says, I think Pokemon on Switch will release this year because Nintendo needs an anchor for the holiday season. So there's really no anchor like a Pokemon. Pokemon sells an obscene amount of copies on the 3DS every single time, despite it being pretty much the same game every time. But an anchor like Pokemon is pretty much unmatched most times. It's gonna sell an obscene amount of copies, and it's going to push the 3DS crowd towards the Switch. Something that I don't know what any other game that Nintendo has would do to move that 3DS crowd over. Let's be real here. Pokemon is what's keeping a lot of the people on that system, the 3DS system. Now, Smash is an outstanding game to have in the holiday season, absolutely. I think that's a September release. Fire Emblem should be coming out sometime the holiday season as well. While that's not an anchor like Pokemon or Smash, it's still a game that's going to sell relatively well. I'd give it maybe 2 to 3 million copies just in the holiday season, most likely. But Pokemon is, I think, there in November. I think that's probably when, if I had to honestly just put a date, probably second or third week in November. I haven't looked at the calendar, so I'd go with like November 16th or something. That's probably like a Saturday because I just said that. I'll take a look later and see, maybe on the Spawncast later on today. But yeah, Pokemon I think is there, and I think that's a great point. Having an anchor like that can release at any time and just sell obscene, like we're talking like 15, 16, 17 million copies, unmatched. So yes, there is a lot of pressure internally to get this game out, and you're right, it would be the center, the anchor. It would be the Mario Odyssey from last year, this year. Oh yeah, also I wore that Magikarp shirt, and it threw like my color balance off horribly. So here's just a bunch of comments talking about that. When you've just seen a ghost, but you gotta do Newswave. Plot twist, he is Kratos. Why did you change your race to Dark Elf? I thought you changed your skin tone for God of War. I should have gone with that. That's a great excuse. Yeah, I changed my skin tone, guys, last time because I was celebrating God of War. Finally, on Friday, we talked about Xbox achievements making their way to the Nintendo Switch through an update for Minecraft. The Better Together update will bring 79 achievements to the Nintendo Switch that will unlock for the Xbox Live account that you have signed in with. God of War also saw massive success with reviews jumping to a staggering 95 now on Metacritic. Nicole says, having Xbox Live achievements on Switch might hint at a pretty interesting future for the Xbox brand. Maybe they will consider focusing on software instead, since it's the subscriptions making them the most money lately. It's no secret that Microsoft wants to do service-based sales. They want to have a service like a Game Pass and then like an Xbox Live. That's where the majority of the money comes from gaming for PlayStation or even Microsoft, is having that sweet $60 sale every year from millions and millions of people. That is like almost pure profit for them. Let's be real here. I don't think it costs obscene amounts of money to keep their entire infrastructure thing running for those servers and stuff, especially since a lot of it's like peer-to-peer. But yeah, Microsoft sees, I think, further into the future here. They see a future with a lot of games as a service, games that come out and they update over time, like we see with Ubisoft and EA, and they keep adding more onto it and keep charging you. Overwatch does it. Microsoft wants to have that at a system level, maybe without creating the system. I think they like the idea of branding out their Windows for Xbox platform and have maybe other companies make the system and then you pick which system you want. Kind of like what we do with computers and laptops. Windows comes on everything, Microsoft licenses it, but they don't make the systems. Very possible. You could be on something there. However, I think what we're seeing here with Minecraft going to the Switch with updates and achievements and everything is more of just Nintendo and Microsoft working together. I mean, it's a Japanese company and an American company actually working together like this. This is kind of interesting to see, since it's been pretty cutthroat in console gaming up till this point with those two working together so well. I mean, seriously, crossplay like 10 years ago, we would have laughed at that notion. You know, oh, you can play 360 and PS3 or Xbox and PS2 games together. That'll never happen. Here we are now with Xbox achievements on the Switch, and people are playing Rocket League against each other in other games, so you never know, I guess. 87 Morpheus says, seeing these God of War reviews makes me really excited for the game. I've never played any of the God of War games, but this one looks great. All right, so this is fascinating. Okay, get this God of War first. I really want to see this, Morpheus. Get this God of War first, okay? Don't play any of the older ones yet. Don't even look at them. Get this God of War, play through it, and then go back to the old God of Wars and see what you think then. I am serious. I'm very curious to see how it is going the other way, because most of the people I know and talk to, they've played the older God of Wars, and now they're going to this one with that old God of War mindset. So go into this one, play it, and then go back to the older ones, because it's way different. And I would like to see what somebody's reaction is going from what this God of War is, where the camera's very close, it never cuts, it's visually stunning like that and everything. I mean, God of War was great looking back on the PS3, but and the PS2. But just to kind of go from this slower paced combat and everything and then go to what God of War used to be, which was closer to Devil May Cry, I would say, you know, very fast, very arcadey. I'm curious to see what people would think about that. So yeah, do that, Morpheus. Start with this God of War. Go back to the old ones on the PS3, PS2, and everything, and see what you think. And that's going to do it today for Newswave Week in Review. If you enjoyed this video, guys, make sure you hit that like button. It really helps out. If not, hit that dislike. Leave a bunch of comments down below about everything we talked about today, whether it is Pokemon in 2018. Is that a thing? Is that happening? I'm almost convinced at this point 100% that it's happening and that it's probably a November release. Well, it could be a December release. I'm pretty confident it's happening though. I could be wrong, but man, holiday 2019 feels like so far away for a Pokemon game to come out, because I don't think they want to release it earlier in the next year. They'd probably be a holiday. So I feel like they're pushing very hard, and if localization has started, the game's pretty much done. So they just need to make sure it's ready for all regions this holiday. But let me know what you guys think of that. Of course, what about God of War? Are you excited for it? Are you picking it up day one? That's Friday. Like I said, that's why I got my finger all taken care of. I got to make sure I can hit the L1 and everything. Be ready for that. Let me know if you guys are picking that up and everything else. Thank you so much for watching, guys. Tonight, Spawncast, 9 p.m. Eastern. That's 6 p.m. Pacific. We're having a lot of fun, a lot of interesting stuff to talk about. So make sure you guys stop by, and I'll see you guys then.